I found an Abraham Lincoln quote a while back that really caught my attention. So we'll ponder that next on the Constitution Study.
Every day, we're everyday Americans. Hold our own and call it home. Put it all on a little piece of land. Pay the bills, stay out of jail. Love the neighbors and have a few good friends. Every day, we're everyday Americans.
Hello there, everyday Americans. Paul Engel here once again with the Constitution Study, where we read and study the Constitution and teach the rising generation it could be free. I'm glad you could join me today. As always, I'm going to point you over to the website, constitutionstudy.com. There are new things that will be coming out over the next month or so. So please head over there, keep track. In fact, sign up for the newsletter. I will email you every month as what new features that are being brought out and being made available. I've got some exciting stuff I've been working on. It's been keeping me real busy, but I didn't want to miss a chance to spend some time with you on the podcast. I want to thank everybody that helps make this happen, whether it's the Rebel North band that lets me use their music, people who are sharing stuff on Facebook or on the internet, and each and every one of you that shares my articles, asks me questions, engages in debates, trying to understand what the Constitution really says, what it really means, and how do we apply it today in the 21st century. And with that, let's talk about this quote I found from Abraham Lincoln. So the quote I found from Lincoln is, "The philosophy of the schoolroom in one generation will be the philosophy of the country in the next generation." And it caught my attention because it's absolutely correct. Now I've been around for a couple of generations, and I remember the philosophy that was taught to us in my classroom back mostly in the 1970s. And I saw those philosophies start coming to light with certain presidents and administrations and Congresses. I think about the time when we had Nixon and Ford and Carter, and I could recognize thoughts and ideals from previous generations. And then we get into Reagan and H.W. Bush, and I saw the ideas of a different generation. Then we got into Clinton and W. Bush and Obama, and I saw another generations. I saw with Clinton, I saw the 60s generation. With W. Bush and with Obama, I saw more of that 80s generation coming through. And now I look at the debates and I see the insanity of the 90s being brought to the public fore. Not simply fringe ideas, but being made mainstream. The idea of socialism. We just celebrated the anniversary of the tearing down of the Berlin Wall. The destruction of a system of government that oppressed people, that had to set up walls to keep people in. And I see those same ideas now being lauded from presidential candidates, from congressional candidates, from attorneys general in the states, from legislatures in the states. I see cities that are doing exactly what was done in Stalinist Russia, doing the same preliminary steps, even to the Weimar Republic and early Nazi Germany. I see history being repeated, and I'm baffled until I realized when I stumbled across this quote again, that's what they were taught in the schoolroom. The classroom have taught this generation that America is bad, that America is evil, that America was founded on slavery, that nothing good that America did. Not the fact that we came to the aid of the world to help protect democracy or to protect representative government, freedom and liberty. Not that we spent decades spending billions of dollars protecting other parts of the world from an infringing totalitarian government. No, we're not taught that. We're not taught, they weren't taught that systemic racism, that government enforced racist laws are a thing of the past. They are a blight on our history, but they're just that, history. No, they're taught that everything today is about race or about sex or about some other minority or other categorization, some other class, some other group. We're not taught to be individuals. We're taught to be part of groups. And we see that now in the government. I look at what our children are being taught today, and I am fearful for the next generation. We are starting to see what happens when children are taught that everybody wins, that whatever you think is true, that right and wrong don't really matter, opinion trumps all of that. And we're starting to see the outcome in our public policy. What happens when those who are being taught today are the leaders and government officials of tomorrow? We talk about snowflakes in colleges who have to run to safe rooms and teddy bears and crayons whenever they hear something they disagree with. What happens when they are in authority, when they are passing laws? You think a piece of paper called the Constitution is going to stop them? We ignore it now. What makes us think we're going to enforce it later? So this is what I'm working on. I'm working on some classes that I want to make available early in 2020. And one of them is a constitutional primer that I'm specifically going to focus at that middle school, high school educational range. I want to provide a tool that you can use to help educate your children and your grandchildren and your neighbors' children about what the Constitution actually says and what it actually means to that middle school, high school student. So I hope you will follow along with that. Again, head over to the website, constitutionstudy.com. If you sign up for the newsletter, I'll let you know when that becomes available. Again, I'm targeting probably late first quarter of next year, depending on how certain things come about, to actually have the middle school version. I may have the adult version out sooner. It's the same basic material. It's just taught two different ways so that I don't put either parents or students to sleep when I'm teaching it. There's a lot more going on. There's a lot more coming out. So I'm really hoping that you'll be engaged. Really what I hope you'll do is you'll take this information and you'll share it. You'll share it with your friends, with your family, on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, anywhere you want. Because if we don't start educating the classroom in this generation, the next generation is going to be less free than we are today. Because that is what the schoolroom is teaching them today. So I hope you found this interesting. I hope it got a little bit of your attention. It's kind of a short episode, but I really just wanted you to think, what are our children being taught and what are we doing to teach them? Let's get away from this. We'll hand them over to the government in September and then let them be indoctrinated with whatever the government wants. Let's take control of what is the philosophy of the schoolroom in this generation so that we'll have a better philosophy in the country in the next generation. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you'll continue to follow the work that I do. Most of all, I hope I'll see you again the next time on the Constitution Study.
You have to know wherever you make your stand. Came from a long